Welcome back to the Barry Charles Footy Show. What a game, what a round of footy, round two of the NRL in 2023. The Dolphins getting 2 wins in a row. The Panthers saying we're back in the hunt. Parramatta, what's doing there? They've lost twice in a row. The Tigers look like they're trying to play razzle-dazzle footy, but just don't have the class of Benji and the side to deliver. And so much more here in your favourite game, Rugby League. Let's get it on. Yes, Thursday night football. When everyone was tipping the Rabbitohs, the Panthers have just said, we can do it 3 years in a row. Yes, indeed. I was a little bit saying they weren't the greatest game of the round. But to be fair, the Panthers just looked like they had this game in control most of the way. And only probably some racial abuse to let Latrell Mitchell made a change in the game. He came out a bit more hungry. But again, Cody Walker gets angry and doesn't play up to his best. The Panthers know how to get it done against the Rabbitohs. And are the Rabbitohs just pretenders? Again, just don't know how to take their next step to be premiers. I really thought Rabbitohs, this is going to be their season. They can still prove it to be their season. But after round two, these question marks, the cracks are happening. But to be fair, they do have a lot of props out. So let's have a look at the Thursday night game here. With Cleary obviously started off well and just controlling the side. But where did it all come from? Isaiah Yeo, he was outstanding. He was really, really outstanding in that game. What else did we like out of this game? Obviously, Taruva to over 200 metres. Very, very good game. Very impressive young man. And again, they just keep revolving out wingers when you just think they can't find another winger. They let Charlie Staines go. Taylor May's out for the season. And you think, well, they can't do it. They just find another player. It's unbelievable how much talent the Penrith side continue to find, regardless if they lose all these players. Liam Martin and James Fisher-Harris again, both outstanding. It was just one of those games. It was just outstanding. The Rabbitohs, to me, just can't go to their next level. Lachlan Ilias, he's been put back down to earth this week. Clearly, wasn't the greatest game from Lachlan Ilias. And to be fair, but my only concern, though, to be honest, for the Panthers, even though Sonny Lick had a pretty good game, if they had Api Carousel this game, they would have won 30 points to 10, no doubt about it. And that's what they're missing. But Api Carousel's not doing it for the Tigers either, so another question mark there. But yeah, dummy half is still an issue for the Panthers for mine. The Rabbitohs, again, consistency. Damien Cook was slow out of the gates and didn't really look likely in this game, and that's the frustration for you fans out there that Damien Cook just doesn't consistently play good as well. Same with Walker and Mitchell. The whole team needs to play, the spine needs to play collectively good week in, week out. If they did that, they are probably one of the teams to be in the competition. But you got a bit of rocks and diamonds with the Rabbitohs. You don't normally see all four shine on the one day. Only one or two of them. And if they want to be the top team, all four of them need to shine. But on a positive note, Kalamatangi was outstanding again. Cameron Murray. These guys every week deliver. They need the best out of Auckland West. They need the best out of Cody Walker. They need the best out of Mitchell. And they need the best out of them all. But to be fair, probably a little bit harsh on the Rabbitohs because there was a lot of their front row out with injury. So I'm probably putting a little bit of more emphasis on the loss than maybe. And that wasn't too bad to only lose by not too much. So we'll see if the Rabbitohs can bounce back next week. But to be honest, they are missing like a Cooper Cronk, a Billy Slater. Someone missed the consistent in their spine. That is what they're missing, the Rabbitohs, probably, to be their title contender, like an Adam Reynolds type player. But it's the way the cookie crumbles. Let's look at Friday night football. Wow, what about the Sharks and Parramatta? Attacking footy at its best, but to me, the title contender didn't come out of this game because defensively it was not a good game. And if you're going to win the comp, you're going to have to defend a lot better than that, and that's for sure. Looking at the Eels losing 2 games at home to start the season. Well, I'm going to say it now. I've already said it that they won't make the top 8 this year, but just reiterating, no show for me. They are gone. Gone burgers, yes. Parramatta season is already over. You heard it here, right now. Obviously, Ryan Madison and Sean Lane, when they come back into the team, they will be a lot better team and they'll start winning a few more games. But I just got a question mark over this Mitchell Moses not signing on, and disappointing. Anyway, getting back to the racial abuse, there's no need for that in the game, in society, in anything. Should be a life ban from this kid. No doubt about it. You just got to make a statement. Boom. Give him some education. But to me, it's just not good enough. And we need to eradicate it out of the game. If you're looking at the Sharkies, even though I think they're definitely a top 8 team, but just whether or not they can go to that next level. And obviously, not having Nico Hines is obviously hurting the Sharks, but you've got to defend a lot better than that if you want to be a real contender in this competition. Yeah. And getting back to Mitchell Moses, and there's a few people saying, well, leave him alone like Andrew Johns and that. But to be honest, why hasn't he signed the dollar line? It's money, 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 money. And I believe the Tigers have upped their offer, and that's why he hasn't signed yet. He is wanting Parramatta to jump a little bit more, or Parramatta jump a little bit more, add that extra year contract. That is what he's wanting. We'll see in due time, but this is going to cost Parramatta this season. And Parramatta just let the Sharks in too easy after dominating early. And the difference in the end was Braden Trindle's goal kicking. It was very, very exciting. Yes, but to me, premiership credentials for both teams, not looking good. But the game of the round, this one, the Broncos and the Cowboys. This was a great game of footy, which was a little bit overshadowed by the shoulder charge, high tackle to Corey Oates, which broke his jaw and took Scott Drinkwater out of the game for 10 minutes, and that's when the Broncos went wild and put this game to bed. But before that, it was a very thrilling contest, anyone's game. Where do I see these two teams going forward? Well, Broncos again, Billy Walters and Corey Pates. Even though Corey Pates wasn't too bad a service from the game, but they got so much talent everywhere else. It's just maybe they don't need it there. Reece Walsh was outstanding. He will only improve as well. That's the dangerous thing. He'll only improve. Aaron Reynolds got him around the park, but Ezra Mann, he was outstanding. He was really outstanding with Reece Walsh. Just outstanding. Payne Haas and Patrick Carradine, they just do their thing every week. You know they're going to turn up. So good signs there and obviously Herbie Farnworth. He was outstanding over 200 metres. He is definitely the best centre on the Broncos. Don't say Tony Staggs one more time, folks. Herbie Farnworth is the better player. And more consistent. Jeremiah Nanai. Now everyone's saying what a fantastic game he had. 2 tries, absolutely outstanding. But his effort areas and other areas has been a little bit disappointing. Not much run meters. I don't know what's doing there with Jeremiah Nanai, but he really needs to up his game. He wants to keep his origin spot. This is like a second year sort of syndrome sort of thing happening. We'll see. But the Cowboys, I was expecting much more. Out of their dummy halves, they just didn't really get into the game. Reece Robson and Jake Granville. To be honest, I thought Corey Paix was the best out of the 4, and to be honest, I thought he might have nearly been the worst. But in this game, he was the best. Yes, interesting to see how that goes going forward. But the Cowboys, to me, are still a top 4 side. I think they're going to be right up there in when the games over the season. I think there's just a little blip in the radar, and I think you'll see both of these teams play finals footy this year. Let's go to the first game of Saturday footy. The Roosters and the Warriors. Some people would argue it might have been the bludger game of the round, and you could argue it was close to it. There's a lot of drop balls in this game. But what I saw was some grit and defence from the Warriors. The old Warriors would have lost by 50 points, but this year's Warriors are really digging in, and that's why I see them as the sneaky to make the 8th spot this season. But again, the halves are going to have to deliver if they want to get there, and they were left being a goose in the last 10 minutes when they really needed them to shine. It's disappointing with Jackson Ford going off early didn't help, and then you had Nia Corey go off and it wasn't looking good at all. Obviously, Te Maire Martin and Sean Johnson have to continue to lift to get their side around the park because they got the forward pack to do it. On the Tohu Harris, again, outstanding. Him and Mark Nichols, they're the two to fight out for the most consistent forward so far this season. Take your pick on that one. Lindsay Collins, he was outstanding. Tedesco was better. Suwali was outstanding. Both teams were very good in defence, and that's what I liked. Even though they might not have been that good with their hands, but on attack they're outstanding. I was expecting Roosters and the Warriors. I think these are the two teams that I expect the biggest improvement going forward. I think these two teams are going to really rocket into the season later on, I believe. Could they be both in the grand final? Probably not. But obviously the Roosters have a team to make the grand final, which is whether or not they want to play together to get it done. So to me, even though it might not been the greatest festival of a game, but in terms of just hard out grinding defense, this is the best you would have seen for the Warriors in a long time. Dolphins at Redcliffe get it done 2 in a row. Outstanding, very outstanding. After being down, everyone would have thought the Raiders were going to go on to win big time, but they found a way to get out of the rut. And who would have thought the hammer, Hamiso Tabuai Fado, carving it up, absolutely showing his origin potential again. He is pushing with Reece Walsh to make it back into the squad. But where do they fit in? You still got Kayln Ponga in the team as well. I'm not sure how they're going to fit in. Even Corey Oates, he's unlucky. He might have missed out on Origin with the injury. Could be costly for him. But going back to Mark Nichols, outstanding. He's playing a man possessed at the moment, and rightly so. He's been very good. With obviously Felice Kafusi. Tommy Gilbert, he's going under the radar, but he's playing good footy. So is Jesse Bromwich. For Raiders fans, the question mark is, yes, Sebastian Kris is getting through the meterage, but is he giving enough in terms of attack for this team? A different point of attack instead of relying on Jack Whiten. Josh Papali, believed to be back next week. It will be a big inclusion and much needed because Tapane can't do it by himself. And Jamal Fogarty was more in the game this week, which is encouraging, but they need more and more out of him if they're going to be a true top 8 chance. But to me, there's worrying sides for you Raiders fans. You desperately need Xavier Savage to hopefully come back in and do something, but he's still a while away. And they're ruining that they let go of Nicole Clockstead. The Storm versus the Bulldogs. Well, many predicted, like myself, that this was going to be an easy win for the Storm. I expected improvement from the Bulldogs, but not this much improvement. But then, to be fair, did I just overread the win last week of the Storm? They just got home over Parramatta, but Parramatta aren't the greatest team this season. And a lot of injuries at the Storm as well. Max King, he was absolutely outstanding, nearly 200 metres. Jacob Carrez was coming up with 2 tries and 200 metres. He was there. Josh Adokar was getting back to near his best. Matt Burton's kicking game was just off the chain. On the Storm side of things, they're pretty woeful in their effort areas, as Craig Bellamy said. But Welsh and Qatar can keep their hands up high. They played very good football. The sin bins seem to be what defines these games, and that was clearly the case. But the Storm normally do a lot better in defence when they're down 10 men. But when you have 20 minutes, when they only get rocketing into the game in the last 20 minutes, it's too late to come back. So it's a very worrying sign for the Storm going forward. To me, the Bulldogs, well, Matt Burton bounces back. I still got question marks over Kyle Flanagan, even though he did a bit more in this game. But really, that is where the weakness is. And fullback Hayes Perham, I don't think has done enough to really say much about him being the future. Let's have a look at the other game of Sunday footy. The Tigers at Leichhardt Oval, no excuses, but they were pathetic. And the drums are beating of disharmony in the team, in the squad, with John Bateman pretty much getting rid of Jackson Hastings. And now John Bateman's not even playing. What's doing? He's got to be in next week, surely. But the Tigers' completion rate was off the chain. And a fantastic 64%. Oh, just world-class guys. I still think the Tigers need to take away this razzle-dazzle footy they're trying to play, and they just don't have the players to get it done. They end up doing Luke Brooks a more run. They might play a little bit off the cuff, but they just need to run forward, go straight, so that the forward pack of Stefano and David Clement will get them going forward. They need to go up the middle like the Warriors did in round one. Play that sort of football. I think that's the way that the Tigers can play, and they can work on their razzle-dazzle later on. But yes, the school said I don't think it's there to play the razzle-dazzle footy, to be honest. They need a person to steer that ship. And to me, that is Mitchell Moses. He's a better option than Luke Brooks. I don't know if he's a premiership winning option, but he's definitely a better option than Luke Brooks. I think that's what they're secretly trying to do. And they're going to go Luke Brooks, but we'll see if that eventuates. I think Luke Brooks could go to Super League or another NRL club, and he would improve. I think he's just been at the Tigers too long, and a culture that's been bad. If he moves to somewhere like the Storm, you might see the true Luke Brooks. But I think 1.5 million, is that the $1 million signing for Mitchell Moses to get him over the line at the Tigers? That'll be the interesting sign. Is it too much money to pay for him? Well, there's not many good halves in the competition, but to be honest, do you want to put a bit of mill at Braden Tribnall? Come over here, buddy. Get out of your contract. He's playing some good footy as well. But yeah, the sin bin of 20 much for 26 minutes. This is for the team that won the game. They had 12 men and can only score 2 tries the whole game, the Tigers. That was a huge concern. Absolutely huge concern. Then he got back in the game last minute. But Dan Laurie continues to impress. Very good. I think they just got to put the razzle-dazzle ways and just go up the middle. And they'll be a much better team for it. Kayln Ponga was missing the whole game and they couldn't get it done. Very much concerning for everyone out there. And obviously for Kayln Ponga himself, the head knocks is his career about to be over soon if he keeps getting them. Dominic Young, outstanding. And I can't believe the Roosters have got him. How the Roosters keep getting these players, it just baffles me. With Spencer Leo, they've got to win a comp. If it's not this year or next year, they're just going to win one. If they don't, it's the best team not to win a comp. Daniel Safiti was fantastic. Dan Gagai and Brandon Best, very good footy. And Leo Thompson off the bench was very good as well. If you look at the stats alone, you would have thought the Knights lost the game. Absolutely, were outclassed in every stat, and they still won the game. Does that mean the Knights are good, or the Tigers are real bad? I think it's the latter. The Tigers are real bad. But for you Tigers fans, John Bateman, I am predicting, will be in this week. And I don't think they'll give up on the Veggie style of footy. Just for you fans, hopefully it'll click sooner rather than later. Otherwise, it could be a long, long season again for you Tigers fans. But to wrap up round one, round one, the Dragons versus the Titans. And if you looked at the game after 20 minutes, half an hour, you would have thought this game's going to be 30-0 to the Titans. But oh my goodness, that turned around, and it was the Rubberwalla and Tyrell Sloan show as they come out and went boom. And a shell shock, Titans never recovered. The Dragons just got a weight of possession and just kept on scoring points, whether it was tries or penalties. Rubberwalla over 200 metres was outstanding. Really good 2 tries to Sloan. Blake Lowry getting a try, and over 100 metres he was very good as well. It was very good football. On the other side, the Titans, Brimson delivered. He was very good again. Isaac Leo was very well. JJ Fita on the wing was pretty good as well. Tino was always a solid south. So which teams really need to improve next week? Who are the teams that really are in desperate need of some form? The Storm will need to improve. The Tigers will need to improve. And obviously the Titans and the Parramatta Eels. And on the other side of the team, they're probably the best. Even though, hard to say when I first started looking at the games and stuff. But the Panthers look like the best side of round 2. Very close second to the Dolphins. After coming back from a game that they probably should have lost. And coming up with that. Well, that's my review of round 2 of the NRL. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. And we will be back in a couple of days to preview round 3 of the greatest game of all, Rugby League.